Welcome to the Disney Hour Express podcast. I'm Abby.
And I'm Rob. We are two hopelessly romantic Disney enthusiasts,
Sharing fun stories, secret tips, and family travel experiences.
If you are a Disney newbie, or maybe a season pass holder, we hope you find this information helpful.
We turned our love of Disney into a unique boutique travel agency that books Disney and Universal vacations.
We've got a lot of stories, so cozy on up, choose your favorite drink,
Whether that be a cocktail or a hot chocolate,
and enjoy the Disney Hour Express.
Hey babe,
Happy Mary.
how's it going over there?
Oh, it's good up here on the North Pole.
I know you're wearing your Santa hat and everything. You look great.
And the beer's colder up here, too.
That looks very refreshing.
Not as good as your wine, your Chardonnay.
My Chardonnay, it is nice and crisp, that's for sure. And we've got another rainy day over here.
Yeah.
Insane weather is going to happen.
Yeah.
It has been happening. Some serious floods in the Middle East coast going on.
Yeah. Let's talk about
And
Lando loves
making
weather.
some songs over there.
Lando
Our dog.
loves weather talk. Let's continue on with that. You know where I heard there was a lot of weather? The dogs. There was weather last night
Yeah, over in Orlando.
and they had to cancel.
They did. They canceled quite a few events over there, and it just rained so hard all night long.
Yeah, I know. They canceled Jollywood Nights.
Yes.
Right? And, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
so-
upsetting. And
Yeah, I imagine if you're going out there, and there was a lot of actually cruises. The Castaway Cay days had been canceled and whatnot because of the weather. I understand that this is always something you kind of have to sign the dotted line on and know that this could happen.
yeah.
But it does stink when you go all the way out there and you're expecting something and you don't get it. But what can you do? They make magical moments in the resorts happen. They have more of the characters come through at the resorts. And they really do try to make up for it when they can.
Now, another person. Well, we make magical moments daily. But
Always.
I heard there was another person that recently was down in Disney that dealt with a little bit of unexpectedness.
Yeah, she sure did.
And who was that?
Our travel specialist, Nicole, who is a frequent Disney goer, both Disney World and Disneyland, was over at Disney World because she wanted to experience the candlelight processional the first time. She hadn't been there. So she brought her two young boys and her sister along to go have a very merry time. They also visited over at Hollywood Studios, but they did not visit Magic Kingdom. So I had a little interview with her just to see how her trip went and asked a lot of fun questions. We don't have that live, but I'd love to tell you all about it.
Oh man, I was ready to throw to the interview.
I know.
Now
I'm so
gonna
sorry.
have to talk this episode. Oh man.
You know how the holidays are so busy. We literally have to talk on the fly all the time. So we didn't have time to sit down and really chat it out. But in any case,
I'd like
I can
to check
tell
your
you.
FaceTime records.
No thanks.
Okay. All right.
So, one of the first things she said were that the ride times were okay. She was so surprised by that, and they also utilized the Genie Plus, which they usually do. But she was so surprised that the ride times were not like incredibly lengthy because she said it was just a sea of people constantly. She felt very overwhelmed because everywhere you went, there was just people. But she thinks that they were there more for the events and the food and just to see things rather than to go on the rides. So that makes a lot of sense. That's kind of where we would go with visiting.
I bet you that's true. That's kind of similar to like the going over to the Very Merry Christmas Party or even Jollywood Nights, is that people are there for the events. In the right times, that's why they're less. I mean, there's less people in the parks because those are like ticketed events.
Yeah.
But so it's interesting to know that the same kind of things happen at Epcot, even though it seemed like there was a ton of people.
Yeah. So she was kind of like overwhelmed by that. But before we even get into all of that right there, I have to tell you, she stayed over at the boardwalk. This was the first time that she had stayed at the boardwalk, and I told her how much we had loved it when we viewed it. And so she was like, hands down, okay, I'm going to take your recommendation. I'm going to stay at the boardwalk. Now, the boardwalk is within walking distance to Epcot. You can walk right in. I believe you're walking in kind of near France. So if your idea was to walk from the boardwalk right into Epcot, you would make it over onto Ratatouille like really early if you were going at like kind of rope drop time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's a good strategy to know ahead of time. If you're really like, I must go on Ratatouille and I must be early, or I need to get my crepes first thing in the morning, you know, all that good stuff. You would be walking right near into France.
It's right over like where the Skyliner stop is for Epcot.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It is. And also, if you're feeling like you need a little bit of a boat ride in the morning, you can take the boat over to Epcot too, even though it's a very short ride. But you can experience that because that boat goes from Epcot and then it goes all around that circle over there, dropping off at the other resorts that are in the area. So it's a really fun thing to do. But Boardwalk was wonderful. She had the best time there. She said the feeling of it was a little bit more classy than what she had experienced in the past. And she also felt like it was much quieter than the resort she had stayed at in the past. So she enjoyed it. The boys enjoyed it. They had a little balcony off their resort room, and it overlooked the grounds instead of over the water. But she said her older son would not come off the balcony.
Oh, he just wanted to stay out there.
He waved to everybody and he would say, "Oh, hello. Hi. How are you down there?" And
Welcome
just
to
talk to
Disney.
everybody.
Yeah.
like he was the gatekeeper of the boardwalk.
Welcome to
and I
Epcot.
think that's sweet. He's going to remember that, right? For all his years, because it was a fun experience and it was something that was just like, this is just a part of the package. So anyways, back to the events that she attended. One of the big things she enjoyed was the cookie stroll. So you get a passport and you have to, not a passport, but like a thing that looks like a passport, because it's going to be your booklet, and you're going to go find all the cookies. It's 5 cookies in the countries, and these cookies are kind of country specific, and you're going to get a stamp in your booklet after you've visited the country with the cookie. And once you get all the stamps, you get a special cookie at the end.
So you have to get 5 cookies in the World Showcase.
Yes, in the World Showcase.
Gotcha.
That's right. So I love this idea. I think it's really cool because you get to visit all the lands and you have a purpose, and you get to experience all the different flavors, right? Cookies are really interesting around the world. And then you get the special cookie at the end is the cookie from the movie Wish. So not the cookie from the movie, but it's the star from the movie Wish. So it's really
your own
cute.
Star?
You get your own star. It's an edible one, which is
that's
really
a different
cute.
type of star.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Now 5 cookies. I think we could step it up a little bit, Disney. There's a lot of countries. Why aren't we doing a cookie at every country?
Well, I think that's a lot of cookies. If you're just the one person doing it, that's a lot of cookies.
Now, look, I am known as, in our household, as a grazer. So last week...
Folks, don't leave anything out on the counters
Abby
here.
and the
It will be
girls
gone.
made some chocolate chip cookies. Whenever I'm walking by to let the dogs out, I'll grab a cookie. When I'm coming back in to let the dogs back in, grab a cookie.
Or when you're just standing there making them lunches, or when you're helping wash the dishes, and
then when I'm
putting them
coming back
away.
in to I grab the water, grab a cookie. So I could do a lot of cookies. I could do a cookie to every country.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, good to know. But maybe some countries don't really have cookies that are like
I want a Moroccan
specific.
cookie. I want a Moroccan cookie.
All right. Well, good to know.
Give
I'll
me
keep that in
Japanese
mind.
cookies. No, it's Chinese. That's China. Sorry. Oh my God. I'm canceled. All right.
They also did the Olaf scavenger hunt, which we've talked about before. It's really cute. One of the things they did over. Oh, I'm going to stay with Epcot right now because the other one's Hollywood Studios.
Gotcha.
Sorry. They, for the first time, went to the German restaurant in Epcot. And now I've been here a handful of times, and every time it's kind of, I enjoy it. So I think some of the things I enjoyed when I used to eat meat was that it was a really easy meal. It's like they're very like meat and potatoes. Everything's really good. And the beers that they serve are larger than my face.
I like a Stein.
And it's a really large beer, and it's just an experience. Now I've gone times when they didn't have shows and times when they did have shows. They happened to be having a show right when they had their lunch over at the German restaurant, and she said they invited the kids down to the stage area, and it was just like dancing, there were horns, there were songs, and it was just so lively that it really made their day. She said this was all we needed in Christmas, was to see this German Christmassy kind of show go on. She said it was everything for her boys, everything. Okay. Now, if you're curious, Travel Specialist Nicole is gluten-free. So this German restaurant also had some really great gluten-free options for her, which was wonderful. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, she loved it. And it warmed my heart to hear that, because I think we always pass over the German restaurant, but maybe we should think about it in the future. Okay. What do you think?
I like it. I'm into it.
Anyways, it was pouring rain
once again.
And they they had their ponchos, but you have to keep in mind the ages of their kiddos. Her youngest is not 4 just yet. He'll be 4 soon. And then her older one is 7 at this time. So that's, there's some variables you got to deal with 4 and 7, right? Or almost 4.
Yeah, no, you have to be willing to
go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole reason that they went to Epcot or even scheduled this trip is because she really wanted to see the candlelight processional. This was just on her to-do list. She really wanted to do it, and it was pouring rain.
Is that covered?
No, not all the rows are covered, and that kind of presents a problem, especially for such a popular event like this, the candlelight processional. So everybody's like flocking that way, and she's thinking like, oh my goodness, it's raining cats and dogs out here. My 2 kids are not going to sit through this thing that I've really wanted to see, and it's going to be miserable because I'm going to like think that I can actually watch this, but I can't because, and obviously like when you're over there and you want to go and sit in the rows that aren't covered, they do ask you to put down your umbrellas so that the people behind you can see. So really, unless you have your poncho on, you're going to get wet.
So that the drylanders can sit behind you.
Yeah.
Sit behind you.
So super bummer is that they just decided not to go. They forfeited the experience. Now, she looks back and she says that German show that she saw really made the whole experience. So it was really good. I know our dogs are in the background just causing havoc like crazy. Now, because it's been raining so much, they haven't gotten adequate exercise either. So you'll hear them a little bit be crazy.
And plus, they're distracting.
Just like they're just like a 3 and a 7-year-old. But in any case, she thought the German show was really, really worth it, and she really enjoyed that experience. But I do feel awful that they didn't go to the candlelight processional.
Now they were at what was the what they were there the 9th, 10th, 11th. It was last weekend,
Let's see. They went last weekend, and I believe they saw the show on the 9th or 10th. That happened either or. I don't recall which one it was.
They would have been at the processional.
Yes, at the processional. Okay. Yep.
So, do you know who was the narrator of the processional that night?
Let me think about it, because I thought it was supposed to be Neil Patrick Harris, but he was there a night or 2 before. Yes. So, and it wasn't Chrissy Metz because she had done it prior to.
Yeah. So
I don't recall.
It was Marlee Matlin.
Okay, that does sound familiar. Yeah. She did say that. Okay.
Yeah, Marlee Matlin, who is a deaf actress.
Yes.
So
we were curious about how that was going to work out, and I wish that I had known. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I love it. So in lieu of all of that, the rain and stuff, they went back to the boardwalk. She gave the boys their showers and whatnot. And she then decided, let's put them in their pajamas and we're going to go out on the boardwalk and we're going to watch these fireworks. And so she went over to the bridge at the boardwalk and she said it was the most perfect viewing spot for the fireworks. The boys were delighted. She was delighted. There was barely anyone on this bridge. And so she said it was just so wonderful. And so I'm glad she experienced that. So, minus one thing, but added another and all of that. She loved the bakery over on the boardwalk. She said it was the perfect breakfast on the go. It's just like a little muffin and little coffee, things like that. She said the bakery was perfect choice for breakfast.
Oh, do we know, is that what it's called, the bakery on the boardwalk?
It might be. I don't know what the name is. Do you know?
No, I don't.
She was just saying that it was the bakery over there right on the boardwalk. So perhaps. Now, she also did enjoy Hollywood Studios time. Who doesn't love the Hollywood Studios? She decided to do the Brown Derby package for dinner to get the early entrance to Fantasmic. She had the vegetarian shepherd's pie and she loved it. She said it was so good. So I'm really excited for our time in which we get to go to the Brown Derby. It seems like quite the experience that we need to have. So they went to Fantasmic. This was their first time really seeing it. Amazing show. She loved it. The boys loved it. But she did say that getting that priority seating, you have to go, usually they say go at 9 p.m., right, to get your seating.
Yes.
And she had third row seats, center. Really good, but she said she felt like they sat there for 30 minutes, which was not a great idea for two boys, especially at 9 p.m. This is bedtime. They're kind of getting cranky and like, why are we sitting here looking at nothing? Yeah. And it was just a little bit too long for them. She said
it was too long for two adults.
It was too long. My back started to hurt. Actually,
yeah, I was sweating profusely.
But this was her tip of the week, and I thought this was a wonderful tip. She said instead of getting that Fantasmic dining package for dinner, she would have chosen to do it for lunch. She would have gone for lunch to do, the Brown Derby, and then you'd still get the early entrance, right?
Oh, you can still get it for lunch.
You can kind of choose. It depends. It's not every package. It depends. So if you were to do that and then you go there at your 9 p.m. time, there are a lot of booths over there. You could get pizzas and whatnot and sit in your row and have dinner. I mean, that's a little bit of a late dinner at 9 p.m., but I could see how eating all those snacks at that time would at least give you something different to do, right?
I wonder. Yeah, because the booths, like, I know there was like a concession stand, but the lines were crazy when we went. So I wonder how that would work out, but that's an interesting tip.
Yeah, I mean, we should look into if they have any mobile order idea options or anything like that.
That's true.
Over there, because it would make it a really nice experience. So I thought that was a pretty good tip of the week. A couple of other things they got to do was they went to Tempranillo Hibachi. And she said her oldest son thought it was like the greatest thing he's ever done in his life. And he told everybody like that he got to go to this experience, like anybody that would talk to him. He's like, I ate here. They had the kids' chopsticks and he ate everything with his chopsticks, even though it might have been a little bit messy. She said that just the table show was so cute and so like Disney friendly. So for example, they made the onions into Olaf and then they started singing do you want to build a snowman, and like with the onions on the table, and then they chopped them up and I was like, that's hysterical. Do you want to build an onion man? Yes, exactly. So a really, really good show, which was great. Now, they also did another new experience, which was the Topolino's character breakfast at the Riviera. Oh. This is similar to Chef Mickey's, but it's table service, which always brings a different experience. I think when you're not going up to a buffet, it just brings all this it makes you feel like you're having kind of a more glamorous time. I think so. Like there's something about the garden grill where all your food's brought to you and you're kind of like enjoying the experience. But this table service at Topolino's, it wasn't a family style thing. It was like you order your own dish. They did have a family style kind of croissant, like table service, like a bread service, but they had like different dipping sauces for it. Like they would have a chocolate dipping sauce and a syrup dipping sauce and other kind of flavors. And
almost
she
like
said,
a fondue.
yeah, although her sons wouldn't normally like do croissants and things like that, they definitely did these because it was so interesting and fun. The characters that they take pictures with are Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, and Donald, and they're wearing more artistic Riviera getup, so they look like very classy. Like think of like a French beret and kind of things like that.
Oh, oui, oui.
Yeah. Oh, and she said the other thing is that they serve the dishes on like an artist palette. So like,
right. That's
so
interesting.
it's very themed in like a really nice
cool
way.
theming.
I love all of that. So that was like the croissant and the where the colors would be. It was where they had the different like syrups, or if you had waffles, you'd have like the different syrups and that. So really cute. It's got a great view over there. It was the 10th floor of the Riviera, so you could definitely see all around Epcot, right? Because that's more of an Epcot view, I believe. So
I think Riviera still has like a did you say anything about the gingerbread display? I believe they have a pop-up gingerbread display there.
She didn't say anything about that, but I'm sure it was beautiful. Okay. Yeah, I love all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So she's been to both Christmas. Now she did not go to Magic Kingdom at in Orlando, but she went to the Disneyland, which is their Magic Kingdom over in California, for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
So
as we just talked about on our last episode.
Yes, that's right. She was kind of comparing the both. I asked her a lot of really hard questions about it. I'm going to pause on that because I wanted to say one more thing about Topolino's that I forgot. I'm so sorry for that. So I asked her, as we were discussing how they bring your plates out to the tables and stuff, I always feel somewhat cramped in those character dining experiences, especially if you've ever gone to the Polynesian and done their breakfast dining experience. You're like on top of the person next to you, and your pictures, you're always going to get other people, other families in the pictures, right? That's why I like the Garden Grill so much, because your tables are very separated, especially if you're going with like a larger party. Now, she said that the Topolino was a very fine dining experience where there was a lot of space between tables, and she felt like very fancy, very nice. Nobody was on top of her, and she wasn't crowded at all. So anyways, sorry about that. Done with Topolino's. Back to her experience with Disneyland Christmas and Disney World Christmas. Now, she really gave no hesitation to tell me that she believes Disneyland Christmas is better.
And why?
Well, part of that had to do with the sizing, I guess. She felt like it was a more intimate experience at Disneyland, maybe because everything's smaller. And I said, well, that's so interesting, because you felt like everybody was on top of you at Epcot, like there were so many people. And she's like, it's just different. Like there's different things to do all around Disneyland, and because it's smaller, it's like more merry and jolly and intimate. And she just liked that experience better. She also liked the weather better at Disneyland. She felt like Disney World, it was 80 degrees and hot, and she couldn't wear her Christmas sweater. She was sweating and gross, and she didn't feel very Christmassy. She felt like she was just in Orlando, and there were Christmas decorations around. When you go to Disneyland, it's not chilly, but it's like it can get chillier. That area is known to kind of like hover in the 60s or so. Gotcha. So you're not cold, but you're not hot, depending on the day. Sometimes there's different kinds of weather that comes through. But for the most part, all right, she definitely said hands down Disneyland was a better Christmas experience for her.
And I wonder, and not just the difference, I think, between the two parks, I mean, other than being on separate coasts, is that, as they say, Disneyland being it's more about the pass holders, right? Because the majority of people there are just annual pass holders that come there all the time.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a person that's like, it doesn't feel like there's not as many people flying out there to go to Disneyland, right? Because they're in like LA and there's like other things to do. It's like if you're going to Orlando, you're pretty much, unless you're visiting family, you're going to a theme park. Like
yes.
That's why you're going there.
Yes.
So all these people are just like intentionally passing in there. And so I guess,
Yeah. No, I know. So it was a great take. I had a good conversation with her. I'm glad that she went and enjoyed herself. She said she probably will not return for the Christmas season at Disney World. Sad. Makes me bummed for her, but I get what she's saying.
That's it. We should announce now that we're going next year. That means Nicole won't join us, I'm sure.
That is not true. She will absolutely 100% join us if we were going.
Like I just said that and she's already booked her ticket. She hasn't heard the podcast.
Nope. Yeah, she's our counterpart when we travel down there. So we like that. Okay, so we got other couple fun things coming up, right? Well,
it is. I mean, what's coming up? What's more fun than the upcoming holiday, right? We're about a week away from Christmas Eve. Next week, about this time, Abby's gonna be
cooking up a storm.
Yeah, cooking up a storm. Got
in the kitchen,
some turf, and all that, and
that's
other
right.
Vegetarian options for us. Maybe I'll do some stuff, but yeah, we're gonna be fancying it up.
Well, you're in control of Christmas Day, right? You make our lasagna and whatnot.
It was
in control of the Christmas Eve.
It was so last year we went to my sister's house. We weren't here. The year before we stayed at home and we just had it. And so I was cooking lasagna
on Christmas Day. Yeah.
Christmas Day, I was making a lasagna, and so I was in the kitchen, and we were still like
at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I hadn't changed yet. We were all wearing these Mickey pajamas.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're lucky. If you go on and rate our podcast, I'll post these pictures on the Instagram. How you like that, huh? I'm holding it hostage. You want to see these pictures of us in our Mickey pajamas? But anyway, so I'm just cooking, and then her dad just shows up early. He was supposed to be here at 1. He showed up at 10:30. Yeah. And I'm just
I think the best part of the whole thing was that not only were you in pajamas and you're standing at the stove cooking meat, but you also had a beer in your hand at 10:30 in the morning.
It was quite the Christmas, Look, as parents, you get it.
But also, I hadn't been feeling all that great that morning. I was starting to notice that maybe something was off, but I didn't really know what was happening. Yeah. And by the end of that day, I had a full-blown stomach virus that was just wonderful to have on Christmas. Yes, I went to bed pretty early.
And I just had to I'm trying to keep the girl. I'm like, yeah, girl, just watch. Yeah, mom's just she's tired. She woke up early to get Christmas ready. Let's just let her sleep. And
it was terrible.
Play with your remote control cars.
Well, in any case, let's hope that we have a easier Christmas and nobody gets sick. But we love our movies. Rob and I are big movie buffs. We go all the time. We talk about them. We love them.
And then we especially love our Christmas movies.
That's right, we do. We are big Christmas movie people. You can find us watching Hallmarky movies all season long.
Now, that's kind of like the bread and butter, right? That's what...
We watched a hysterical movie last night, which I think, I didn't put it on my rating, but I really would have if I had thought about it. What was the name of that movie?
It was called Christmas with the Campbells. Uh-huh. And it was Brittany Snow and Justin Long, Abby's old friend. And
from the Hood.
Yeah, from the Hood. And it was this funny movie. It was kind of like your typical, all the Christmas movies that come out are pretty much, you could figure them out, right? Mm-hmm. But this one was I guess I didn't realize what it was rated. It was rated R versus the other ones, which are rated PG-13 or PG or whatever, or they're, TV E for everyone. Mm-hmm. And this one was rated R, and it was definitely like saucy.
It was so saucy, but it was so good because I wasn't expecting it, right? You see, like, because it's like this wholesome Christmas movie, right? There's like romance, there's families, and then they just let out all this like really, I don't want to ruin it for you, but like, I mean, Rob and I kept looking at each other being like, oh no, like that happened multiple times throughout the movie.
And so I definitely hope, like the scene stealers. There were two the two actors, the parents, they were played by George Wendt from Cheers and Julia Duffy, who has been around for a while. She was on Newhart. She's an actress that's been around for a long time. But yeah, the two of them together, and it was just like every time they were alone, every time they were alone, like in their bedroom, there's the stuff they would say was just crazy. Yeah. And so we were like, what? And it was really a good show. But those are typically like we do. Obviously, and we're gonna talk about like what our favorite Christmas movies were, but we really do love those things like the terrible Lindsay Lohan movie that came out last year, like that one that was like a big event, and then was like a Christmas night, like we watched those movies,
right? But what was that movie with the chick from the vampire show that we watched and liked?
It was
what's her name?
Nina Dobrev. Yeah, it was
here, I'm looking it up right now. It was called Love Hard.
Yeah, Love Hard. Yeah, that's
kind of a funny one too.
Yeah. No, they had a great cast. Yeah. So there's definitely like all these, and they're direct to streaming movies that come out. And, we love them. We'll watch just about anything. I think other movies that we watched were it's called Best Christmas Ever, right? We just watched that with Jason Biggs and Heather Graham.
Yep.
And that was, it was enjoyable enough. Yeah. It wasn't great, but I'm trying to think.
Now, what was it? Candy Cane Lane. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get through. It was a little too.
I fell asleep. I was tired,
but we still tried to watch it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have to throw it out there. What is your favorite Christmas movie on Disney Plus?
So, because obviously there's a lot of Christmas movies that are out there, and we are a Disney podcast. I know that's hard to believe sometimes, as we go off in our topics like this. So we wanted to say, first, we're going to talk about what our favorite movies on Disney Plus are. Mm-hmm. Right. So these are all movies that are available as of now on Disney Plus, and how do we want to do this, and like go from like 3 to 1, like are we just naming movies that we like? How do you want to do that?
You know what, I'm gonna just name the ones that I like. I think no, I don't know, you tell me, babe.
No,
it seems like you like the anticipation. What's your first favorite from Disney Plus?
So you mean it's like my number 3 or
your number 1?
Oh my God, my number 1.
Okay, number 3. Number 3. Okay, guys.
Doing,
oh my goodness, he always likes to go backwards. Number 3. So what's your least favorite of favorites?
That's a great way of putting it. So I think it's the Santa Claus.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
The Santa Claus, the original one.
I agree.
We were just watching it downstairs. Our Bailey was watching another movie, and the Santa Claus show came up, and so I was like, well, how about instead of watching the show, she was like, can I watch this? I was like, how about we watch the movie so you kind of understand what's happening? And it's one of those movies where I was like, I want to be there with her because, essentially Santa does pass away. Right? He goes into that great North Pole in the sky.
Right.
But they do it in, like I was just saying to Abby before we started this, they do it in like a great way. And like Santa like waves goodbye and then he's just like gone, it's not that sort of thing. So but definitely wanted to be there for her just in case she was like, what happened to Santa?
Right.
And she kind of just
went along with it.
Yeah, she had zero reaction to it.
That's good.
And it was going along. And I think we didn't finish it, but I think she liked it.
I think she liked it. And she's seen it like before.
Has she? She seemed like she had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to show it to her before though.
Gotcha.
But I have to say too, this also made the third on my list. And I think it's a 2-parter for me.
Oh.
Now, this, I get a little nervous about the kids watching it because it's, it's about two parents who have split up and the child needs to split time between the two houses. And then they kind of pin the dad as being a crazy person. And I feel like there's a lot of like emotions in there that are like really raw in this family and can kind of bring a lot of questions up aside from all the Christmassy cheery stuff. It's kind of like, ooh. Now, also, when this movie came out, I was probably in the 8-year-old range. I don't know exactly the date, but I think it was around the time where I started to realize myself about Santa. And I think this new story that came in for me kind of like rejuvenated me that year. I had seen it like right around the Christmas holidays, and it kind of like made me kind of believe a little bit again that like, oh, well, maybe something else is possible. Maybe the version of Santa that I heard is not necessarily the truth, but maybe this version of Santa is true. And so that year I remember like making a lot of paper dolls, and I made them all elves and things like that. So it's like this kind of brought the season back alive for me for something that kind of had tapered out a little bit. So yeah, I love that movie and I think it's great.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It's a classic. Like you have to watch. I have to watch it at least once every year.
Yeah.
Despite my feelings on Tim Allen now, but I watched Home Improvement. I thought that was I enjoyed that.
His era of movie and film.
The other ones, I'll say the other ones did not make my list of the best.
Okay.
Did they make yours?
What do you mean the other ones? His other
Santa
like
Claus,
the second.
sequels,
no.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they get like increasingly not as good. The third one's like somewhat entertaining, but the second one's pretty bad. And then I haven't seen the show, so I can't tell you anything about it.
Gotcha. What's your second one?
Oh, you go first on this one.
No. All right. So again, this was another one we had going on today, which is really funny. I wasn't expecting it to be on today, but it's Noelle. And this is a newer Christmas movie, I would have to say. I'm an Anna Kendrick fan. So pretty much I think she can kind of like nail any role she does. And she plays this role so very well. And it's a story where the person who's become Santa, it runs down the line of men in the family, and the next one up is her brother, Noelle's brother, to be Santa, and he is not digging the role. He doesn't feel like he belongs in this role, and it's not going well. And now Noelle, being the female, is just like, what is wrong with you? You have this opportunity to be Santa, and I don't, and that makes no sense. And she's in charge of bringing joy to him to like make him believe and make him be in the spirit, and she ends up kind of taking over the gig. And I just love that it's not only like showing how sometimes tradition is not always correct, and that it just, women empowerment is in there too. Okay. But I love the outfit she wears. I love the stories, and there's parts of it where she feels shame because she feels like she hasn't done her job, and then she feels, all sorts of different things. And I love the movie. I think it's an easy movie to follow. And it's fun.
No, it is. It's a very fun movie, and Anna Kendrick is very charming in everything that she does, and it has that cute reindeer that's the name of, I can't think, it's always like
Snowy. The reindeer's name is Snowy.
Oh, that's right.
Which is what our elf's name. Our elf here at the house is named Snowy.
Our elf that's in the room staring at us, holding a Switch controller.
What is your
that's
second?
A good one. So my second is again an older movie that has transcended its time, and I don't know if it's problematic, but I enjoy it. I watch it. I own it, as well as renting it on Disney Plus. Jingle All the Way.
Oh, okay. I've seen this once a long time ago, so I'd love to watch it again with you to kind of refresh my memory. What do you love about it?
What she doesn't know is, right, usually I usually go to sleep last. Right?
Like
she goes into bed,
later.
Then I take a shower and then come in and she's passed out. So I will put on something after to put myself to sleep on the TV. We fall asleep with the TV on, and I've put this on. You've probably heard this subliminally.
So I know the story.
Yeah. So you definitely know the story, but it's all about this, everyone has dealt with, whether it was your child or it was you as a child, wanting to get that Christmas toy, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, is Arnold Schwarzenegger in this?
It's Arnold. Okay. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's all about this doll called the Turbo Man doll, the action figure, and like the son. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger is married to Rita Wilson, and he's like a kind of absentee father. He's always at work, and like the son, Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin Skywalker in the first Phantom Menace, kind of a strange, it's all in the Disney verse.
Once you stay in the Disney family, you don't often leave.
And then Jake Lloyd, I heard he went down a weird path. But anyway, so it's all about getting this doll, and it's like Arnold was supposed to get it for his son, and he just forgot because he was working, and so now it's like Christmas Eve, and he has to get this doll, otherwise his son's like gonna hate him forever,
right?
Type of thing. And he ends up like meeting up. It's like him and then Sinbad the comic plays a mailman who also wants it, but he's like a little unhinged. So it's like the two of them are like foils going up against it. So it's like Madcap and all this stuff. And Phil Hartman's in it, and he plays like this guy who's like creeping in on Rita Wilson. But there's like a crazy reindeer. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I don't know. It's so weird. And then it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger as just like a common working father, but it's still Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's still like huge, it's like this big guy. Like, how would you just not be intimidated by him all the time? And like with the accent and everything else. And it's funny. I enjoy it. It's campy. I enjoy it.
Cute. I like that choice. Awesome.
All right. Now,
number one. So my number one is kind of a classic for us because it was made for when we were little kids. And so when we grew up with this movie, we had all the toys from this movie and watched it obsessively. Home Alone.
Oh, the toys from the movie?
Yeah, the little Walkman, the talk thing.
Oh, so you like Home Alone 2.
Oh, is that from Home Alone 2?
Lost in New York.
No, you're right. But no, I'm talking about Home Alone 1 because I think that it kind of all got blended together at some point. But the first Home Alone, and I love it all. And I love that he got a star for it this year, right? He got a star. And I think it's it was so delayed, but to know not only Macaulay Culkin's life and how it turned out after this movie, and the struggles he had to overcome, but just like in this movie to see everything. I mean, come on, like you are alone and you have the radiator in the basement. That's scary.
The furnace, yes.
The furnace. Oh my gosh. That was my basement growing up. And like, I swear every time I had to go like do the laundry, I'm like running, like run up the stairs. And like,
basements are gross and weird and dark. And
so scary. So not only that, but then that he has to like go to his own groceries and figure it out. And the neighbor's a creep. And it's like, there's a tarantula. What? And like just the classicness of the house too is really, really cool.
I mean, the house is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So there was just everything about this.
I mean,
that he gets his own Christmas tree and like decorates it. Yes. He's just, and I feel like every kid, as they're growing up, I think there's like transitions, right? Where what the child might think is tradition that they do every year and that maybe a parent has forgotten or something, and the child starts to carry it on, right? And starts to be like insistent about it. So just that he does all his family traditional things without them is just like kind of a testament for what he's seen growing up and how beautiful and much it meant to him. So we have a lot of holiday traditions in our family that we try to do year after year.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We're very like, I don't know, we're stuck in our ways. And you know, I can see that in our kids too, that like if we haven't done something yet in this holiday season, they'll be sure to remind us that it needs to be done.
I feel like they won't remember during the holiday season, but afterwards it'd be like, hey, we didn't do this. You're like,
why didn't we do this?
Well, we definitely have done like all the stuff.
Yeah.
That movie's also my number one as well. Okay. So, I mean, that's kind of like the typical, I mean, it's obvious, but I mean, come on, it's Home Alone. I saw it in the movie theaters when it came out.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
I'm a little bit older. But yeah, so I saw it in the movie theater when it came out, and it just like, how great was that movie? I mean, Macaulay Culkin, just tons of talent, like bursting through.
Yes.
It's
like feels like for him, those whole single person movies, like how like Tom Hanks like made the single person movie like so epic. Like I don't think Macaulay Culkin, now he got all the credit and stuff, but this was like solely focused on him, and he definitely had big shoes to fill. I'm sorry, I'm taking up your time to talk about your love.
Like a fun fact of Home Alone, Roger Ebert, the famed film critic who's since passed away, but of Siskel and Ebert, like panned the movie. He did not like it. Like he kind of wrote it off. He said it's not a good movie. This is like such a waste of time and all this stuff. Oh my
gosh.
It's it's huge. For most people, like kind of a Gen X and up, it's kind of like their classic.
It is.
Yeah, you're kind of doing the face right now. You're like, you're like, yeah.
How about that scene when the mom's in the van with the band
with John Candy,
Gus
Blinsky
on the way back, and like
Kickers.
She's so like hosh posh and like standoffish, and then starts to kind of like melt because she knows that she's done this awful thing, and like she's still trying to like hold it together and pretend like she's like kind of better this band, and she's not. And so it's a very interesting friendship that like he has to crack away at her to get her to be friends, and I think that's a very interesting dynamic that she played really well and he played really well. So
no, absolutely, they did a great job. And now let's talk just a little bit about Home Alone 2.
Sure. And I'm not as familiar with it. I just remember it kind of being like, so this was the one that Trump was in, correct? Because it was like the hotel.
That was like the thing. It was marked, when he goes and stays at the Plaza Hotel in New York. I mean, it's obviously a little... Both movies are unbelievable. That neither of them would happen, but the second one, right? I mean, it's just like insane.
Yeah.
That would happen again. That these parents would leave their kid alone, and it's the funny thing about it is because, God, I can't think of her name now. Moira Rose. We watch her all the time. Oh man, why can I not remember her name? But she's kind of like the one, like you kind of feel like she's the more neglectful
adult out of it,
because she's always the one that's like running back. Catherine O'Hara.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
And so she's the one that's always like running back. So you always kind of think of it's her as opposed to the father.
To the father who just is like, I'm eating shrimp at, what were they, in France or something?
Yeah, the first time, And like the other one, he's like, I'm just going to stay in Florida. You try to get back to her, try to get back to him. But I mean, to leave the kid the second time, I mean, CPS would take all your kids away from you. Like you wouldn't be allowed to have any of them. Even like they would probably take Buzz as well. You know what I mean? It's so kind of crazy and out there, but everything between Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci. I mean, they were both great as the burglars, Harry and Marv.
Right.
I mean, just both, but even in both films, they're great films. Like I've kind of come to like Home Alone 2 a little more.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Good to know. But yeah, you're right. This is not a movie that I feel like our kids could relate to. Because like these things would not. No, we could barely leave them. Like I'm worried of what's happening downstairs right now. I know. Let alone Home Alone. So we have some other like now let's go outside. We'll just those are our Disney Plus movies. What other movies? So well let's start with you. Do you have a favorite or second favorite movie outside of Disney Plus for Christmas? I mean, besides those, and those, obviously are like classics, and they've been around for a while. I mean, besides Jingle All the Way, not really a classic for everyone, but one of my favorite Christmas movie, and the number one on my list, is Ernest Saves Christmas, which we kind of talked about before, which I know you have never seen. No. You're not familiar with the Ernest. So Jim Varney was this actor who he did he used to do commercials in Orlando for a car dealership, and he created this like character named Ernest.
and he had like this friend named Vern. It was always off camera and was kind of like, anyway, what started created. He did like a show, like a comedy show, an improv show. Then he got signed and he started doing these movies. This Ernest Saves Christmas is like, if you look at it, it's not like anything outstanding or this movie, but it was something that it was like the right time for me as well. And like, I loved Ernest, anything Ernest goes to camp, Ernest goes to jail, all those things. But Ernest Saves Christmas, I remember seeing it in the commercials to go to see it again. It was a movie I saw in the theaters. And then like my family also kind of enjoyed it. And it was filmed in MGM Studios.
Yeah.
It had to do, it was based in Orlando, the film itself. And it's one of those things. Now, me and my brother, we have like this kind of weird rule with it, is that you're only allowed to watch Ernest Saves Christmas on Christmas Eve.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you're not, you can't watch it at any other time. If you like happen to just fall asleep early, before you go to bed, you're able to watch it Christmas morning before you wake up to go get presents. But other than that, you have to wait till next year.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Yeah, so it's just like one of these things like we have.
So before I came along, did you guys like watch it together or
No, we would watch it separately. No. Yeah, we're just like in our 20s and 30s, just like, hey, want to come over and watch Ernest? Like, no.
Put on your footy pajamas. Come on over.
Exactly. But it's just one of those things. But what about you? What do you have outside?
Okay, so this is like my all-time favorite, like outside of, and I think it's pretty obvious to you, but Christmas Vacation.
Oh.
Every character in this movie is amazing. I could watch it over and over again and pick up on something new almost every time, because I love it. I love, first of all, the mom and dad. I love them separately and together. And I just love their relationship, because this wife like never shows, I mean, yes, sometimes she'll like roll her eyes or whatever, but it's not like a Roseanne Barr kind of thing. Like, it's like I love
She's
my
not, like, putting him
husband
down.
and I support my husband. She never puts him down, right? She's always like there and happy, and like she'll show like her little stress by like sneaking cigarettes and things, and like that's funny in a way, but she's like so dedicated to the family unit that, and like not like in that way that you're like, wow, like she just doesn't, she lets everything roll off her shoulders, and she's like perfect, and she's perfect looking, and all that stuff. And he is just so hysterical, like he's always like chasing the ball but never quite gets it, and that sucks,
Yeah,
like
he's always just coming up short. Like, he's always striving for it, but he's there, but he's like, all his best intentions are his family, right? And that was even like the movies beforehand, Vacation and European Vacation.
All the vacations.
It's like, he has the best intention for his family, just everything goes awry.
I know, always. And then the kids play like perfect kid roles, like the daughter who's like, and our daughter was just saying this the other day, every time somebody comes over, they sleep in my room. They have to take my room, and then I have to go sleep somewhere else. And I'm just like, girlfriend, that's just the way it works. I'm sorry, we don't have a 7-bedroom house.
Yeah, exactly.
But so like they have the daughter in the movie who's saying that, and then the son who's always just giving these little like snippets, like either tattletales or just like little trivets here and there that are just kind of like, well, that was unnecessary, but I guess that's okay, and so and then just the family and
like everybody, I mean, cousin Eddie coming over, the grandparents, everything, the neighbors, I mean, Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Nick Guest. Just an all-around cast. Definitely, I'd say it's like Ernest, because I could only watch it once a year. It's like national, like Christmas Vacations, right? It's like my 1B, I guess. You would put it down. In fact, the other day, we sat down, we were just home doing something like, oh, let's put on Christmas Vacation. And I put it on. She's like, I haven't watched it yet. I was like, I've watched it a couple times while you were sleeping, but, yeah, no, definite classic. Definite for me movie I saw in the movie theater.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm old.
My parents probably would not have taken me to see that one because
yeah,
it's a little different.
Yeah, no, it was a PG-13 movie, so it was a little bit, had some risque. There's the scene with the shop girl at the and then when later on and thing, it was a seminal moment for young Rob, but Christmas Vacation. Let's see, I got another one. Obviously, it's shown every Christmas Eve. You could find it on TBS or TNT. It's shown for 24 hours. Again, another movie that I saw in the theater. Christmas Story.
I love it. Yeah. And I'm always, instead of saying you'll shoot your eye out, I always use this phrase, except with whatever it is that's going to happen. I forget what it was the other day. I'm just like, you're going to cut your finger off or something like that. I feel like I'm always saying that about whatever new thing comes into the house.
Yeah.
But tell me more about why you love it.
It's that the quest, right, for that Christmas gift that you always wanted. I mean, I was always, one of those kids that was super into, most kids are into Christmas, right? That they want that toy, whether it was like the A-Team action figures that you were hoping you were getting, fingers crossed, right, the A-Team. But, Ralphie and the Red Ryder BB gun, everybody can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
And even though it was set back in the 50s before TV was around, right? Because they're all listening to Little Orphan Annie on the radio, to get their with their decoder pin and decoder ring.
The Ovaltine.
Yeah, be sure to drink your Ovaltine. He was like, son of a bitch. And little Randy he can't put his arms down, and Scott Farkas. I mean, just. I watch that all the line. Like me and my siblings, we all kind of will quote the lines, certain lines that stick out with it. Not a finger, and obviously Fragile and the leg lamp. It just wow, right?
So much going on there. That's a good movie.
Yeah,
and we haven't watched it yet this year, but I guess you do just wait for
for Christmas
Day,
Eve,
and then it just plays on
8
repeat.
o'clock from 8 to 8. And I always really enjoy that scene. It's at the end of the movie. The kids are in bed. Ralphie's holding his BB gun. Randy, I think, is like sleeping with a Zeppelin that he got. And then it cuts down and it's just the mom and the dad, and it's snowing outside, and they're looking out their window out the front of their house, and it's snowing, and they have all the lights off, but just the Christmas lights on. It's just them, and just like this real quiet moment. And so that's what I tried to always have with me and you at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Just kind of relaxing. So
I know.
It's very peaceful.
So I've got one more. Okay. This one's a newer one, and I know you don't like it, so this is going to be interesting. I'd love to hear why you don't like it. But it's a newer one, and I love it for so many reasons. And it's called Four Christmases. And it has Reese Witherspoon, who I adore, and Vince Vaughn, who I think is a really great actor. Mm-hmm. So although I think Vince Vaughn is really just acting as himself in all the movies he's in, he doesn't have to try too hard, which is great because he's casted well for the roles that he's in. Now, I love this movie because it reminds me maybe a little bit of what it would be like to bring my significant other home now. I love the roles that Reese usually plays, like in Sweet Home Alabama and things like that. Yeah. As we've said here, I'm from Louisiana, and so sometimes things are different. And sometimes, it's hard to explain the differences. They're never anything that you can verbalize. Everybody's just lovely and kind. And I could tell you, if my grandmother were still alive, she'd hold your hand for 3 hours and, dote on you, and you wouldn't be able to get away from her. You'd be her boyfriend for the evening, and that's just the way it goes. And that's not so much what happens up on the northern East Coast. You pretty much say hello, maybe shake a hand, and then you go to your corner for the evening, and it's just a little different. They're a lot more embracing
Okay.
And so you see that a lot with Reese Witherspoon's family in this movie. They're very Jesus loving, very touchy feely.
Yep.
And also the women are sometimes very catty. I just find it hysterical. Whereas his family is also very like bro wrestly, and they're very, they try to outman each other.
Yeah.
And so I've seen that a lot in different families. And I think it's funny that this couple, this is by mistake that they're at their family's houses for Christmas. They were supposed to go on a vacation far away to like an island, but the snowstorm made it impossible. So they ended up with their families on Christmas. So I love the way the story plays out. Oh.
Interesting.
Why don't you like this movie?
Well, I've never seen it.
What? I feel like I put it on all the time, and you just don't watch it.
I just it's connected to a bad memory of mine in the past.
Oh, that's coming back to me. That's right. It was like a date.
Yes. So I got long before I met Abby.
Yeah.
Before we met. Yes. And so I was dumped on the way to go see this movie.
Yes.
Plans to go see this movie
with your date.
Yeah, with the person at the time. So I just always kind of put it into forget it.
The vault of
I've never given it a chance.
But you didn't watch. You didn't go to the movie,
no,
anyways.
It was
See,
beforehand.
that would have been me. I would have if I were dumped on the way to the movie. I don't know. It depends how blue I was about the situation, but I might just go see the movie alone. I did that a lot in my single years.
I went to the local bar and just went and drank by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's all right.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But in any case,
it was a long time ago, so maybe
if you feel I will never push it, but if you feel like giving it a try,
you give me all the good feelings in the world, so maybe we can overtake that.
Well, I do love you, so I hope that's all that I give you is good feelings. But I think
Four Christmases.
Four Christmases.
There's a ton of them out there, and there are
a ton.
There's look, I love all of them. Give me Rudolph, the claymation Rudolph. Give me Charlie Brown Christmas. I love the Garfield Christmas is a favorite of mine. Obviously these are cartoons.
We've got our
movies.
night lined up tonight, right? It's going to be full of protein-filled nachos and Christmas movies.
I love that. Yeah,
and
we
laundry.
We got to get the kids. Yeah, we got to get these in, right? Because we're really busy.
Yes.
So no, there's all those good things. One of we don't really like. It's a Wonderful Life, obviously.
I've actually never seen it.
Yeah, and it's
a classic.
I can understand
I would
that
like to see it.
It's an older.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long movie too. It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But it's you should see it at least once.
But if it's about death and dying and stuff like that, that's what I think of when it says It's a Wonderful Life. I'm like, okay, so it's somebody on their deathbed remembering their life. I can't do it. I'll be like a crying,
really
blubbering mess the whole time.
Not really, but
oh gosh, that movie Stepmom. Holy crap, did I cry forever?
Oh boy. Now we're just going into all types of things.
I can't do it. I can't.
Obviously, honorable mention, Christmas movie goes to Die Hard. Another
that's
movie
right. We did watch that last Christmas, right?
That's like a classic for me. I'm of the age-old debate. I do say that Die Hard's a Christmas movie because it has Christmas movie. There's Christmas music in it. It's set on Christmas Eve. Yes, it's a Christmas.
I think if you really pressured me, I'd say it's a Christmas movie because it's a Christmas party that they're attending. But first of all, who attends a Christmas work party on Christmas Eve? No. You spend time with your family.
Well, see, that's because that's where we differ in that my family growing up, we never did anything Christmas Eve. It was
gosh, we opened all our gifts on Christmas Eve. It was just Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day we were just kind of bored and called all our friends to see what they were doing.
That was Christmas Day was when you would open your presents in the morning, and then all your family would come over your house, or you go visit your family on Christmas Day, not Eve. So that's why to me it made sense.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's I mean, weird. I don't know.
I don't know. I made Abby sit through it for the first time. She's never seen it before.
It was a good movie, though. I can't say that it's not.
It changed the action genre at the time, and that was one I did not see in a theater. I saw it on rental, visiting my aunt in Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, but
I love it.
I remember when I've seen all these movies. So that's our kind of our Christmas list. I did have some, were some like newsworthy items.
Okay, what's going on?
To talk about. One of the things was over in Animal Kingdom.
Yes. Are you going to talk about the little baby?
They had a baby African elephant born.
I know.
For the first time in 7 years.
You know, and I never do this, but I immediately texted all of our travel agents because I love elephants. I have a tattoo of elephants. Like, I think they're the most beautiful and perhaps underrated animal. I think they're so much smarter than we give them credit for. And so I'm so delighted that Animal Kingdom is keeping these healthy African elephants going. Yeah. That is very cool.
And so this is part of their program, and like they do safe breeding down there, right? So it's endangered animals, and they breed them in these secured environments. And this baby was born. It was the mom's name was Nadira, and that was her first calf.
Yay!
And she gave birth to baby Cora. Now, baby Cora weighed 218 pounds. Oh! Now, as a mom who had children, how do you feel about a 218-pound baby? Is everything hurt? You're just like, oh,
more meds, please.
Yeah, please. Another glass of wine. Thank you, bartender.
Yikes.
Yeah, 218 pounds. So the interesting thing was Nadira was born in captivity in Animal Kingdom, and now baby Cora was born in Animal Kingdom. And that's baby Cora is the second generation elephant to be born.
Yes.
To be born there. So that's like interesting.
Now they're going to follow her life very closely. And I think this whole birth and everything and pregnancy, they are going to be showing on Disney Plus, I believe. Yes. Not like the birth thing, but they're going to follow it up, and really we're going to experience together.
Something when I was just looking at this story, and what I find is really cool. So the birth, it's funny how, elephants and humans and stuff. So, the elephant was given birth, like the family of the elephants are like they like help them get through it all.
See, so like elephants are amazing.
Their sister Luna was there to guide and comfort her through the birth.
Yes.
And so like she's met the aunt has met Cora, but she hasn't met, like they haven't yet introduced her to her grandmother Donna. That also is down there. And then her other aunt, Stella. So she has like this whole family already. And they said that the female elephants help raise the baby through like their first up to like 8 years when it becomes like independent enough. And then that's like crazy. I mean, it's just, I know how that all works.
I know. Elephants are amazing. They're an amazing creature. And we've gone back and forth about this a lot. There's an amazing conservation place that has elephants over in Florida, and we've gone back and forth about how we feel about it, because I'd really love to go there. Yeah. But they have the experiences of touching the elephants and that, but you just never know, It's like you want to support a place that's very good and does it. So if you guys know of anywhere that is safe and wonderful, we'd love to know about it, because I'd love to meet some elephants. I know that I often donate to a elephant sanctuary, so I'd love to know about one that you can actually see them, because the sanctuaries don't often let you see them, because they're kind of like, it's a sanctuary. It's for the elephants to convalesce.
Well, you know what? If anyone out there has heard or knows of any elephant, interactions where you can have that, let us know. Yeah. It's pretty cool. One other note before we move on to the next news item: the pregnancy lasted for 22 months. So next time you're complaining about going over 9 months, let's think about that.
Okay. I have stories for you, friends. Yeah, stories.
We could do that.
That's another.
That's for the new
10
year.
episodes.
Yeah, that's our next series, pregnancy. So there was that going on. It's kind of here. I'll do it this way. Universal released, like they sent out all these surveys to people, like kind of trying to get their feelings on if they were given a fear pass what would make them excited, right? So a Fear Pass is Halloween Horror Nights, and it's like a multi-day pass where you get there's certain tiers, but it gives you buy it for one price, and you could go to the Halloween Horror Nights at different times throughout the season. So they started sending out these surveys where like they're trying to gauge like what would entice you to buy this Fear Pass, like if you were offered these certain things. So like some of the things that they were thinking of were like, if you were given a Fear Pass, if you had a Fear Pass and we offered you this, would you attend? So it was like exclusive bars for Fear Pass holders only, only open on select nights, discounts on merchandise, an exclusive single night panel discussing the creation of the houses. I mean, that's kind of cool. Right? Like that. But then there was like, it would be discounts on express passes.
Yes.
Right. So that before like just for this night, they're like saying like you go here and you get a discount like on that night.
Yeah.
Maybe on a night where it's not as busy or something. I don't know. But that's interesting, right? That they're kind of feeling that out. So they don't know. There's some speculation that Universal Hollywood will get a Halloween Horror Nights.
Cool.
That they may be trying it for this.
Yeah.
Or that they're just trying to increase the perks of getting this Fear Pass.
Oh, I love that. And that reminds me, and this is for a different episode altogether, but the Orlando Informer was talking about they had like special after park closing, special ticketed events over at Universal Studios. Yes. And it's so amazing, like hands down, really, really worth all the money that you spend on it. It's about a little over $200. Okay. You get on every single ride. Phenomenal. Free food. We need to figure this out. It doesn't happen often. I think it's like a quarterly thing. Okay. But we should look into that. Yeah. And talk more about that. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's something amazing that we should look over in Orlando.
That's amazing. So speaking of Orlando, and that's why I was kind of doing this. This is kind of for both parks. There's a company that, if you've ever been to Disneyland Paris, they have a very cool fireworks show that also includes drones.
Yes, it does.
It's awesome. Like I watched some of it. I think it's one of them is called like Delight, right? And like So there's a company that's called Dronesis. I don't really know how it's spelled, but the company just opened up a office in Orlando.
Nice.
Yeah, so they kind of said that they did that so that they could be around the theme parks. Now it could be part. Universal has said that they're going to do some type of drone show in the near future. Okay. But there's also, obviously, this is in Disneyland Paris. Thinking that the drones could be coming over to Disney World in some capacity. I don't know. So, but you should definitely go on YouTube and check out the drone shows. They're pretty cool. This sounds like a good thing.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, right? Something to look forward to.
Oh, all the time.
And that's going to kind of lead to our, we're not exactly sure how this schedule is going to go. This episode is going to come out on the 18th. And then the following Monday is Christmas Day, the 25th. Not sure if we're going to do what we're going to do next weekend. We're also the next weekend, obviously holidays are busy. We're going to come out with something. We want to do like a kind of a, one of those episodes, like things we've, the past, kind of reviewing the last year, but also things we're looking forward to.
Yes. And our predictions.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So look for that episode coming soon.
If we don't talk to you before Christmas, because we're unsure, we wish you a very Merry Christmas. And for all our friends that celebrate Hanukkah, we hope that you had an amazing Hanukkah and are enjoying the season. And all our friends that celebrate all the other holidays, we wish you a very Merry everything. We're so delighted that you joined us here, and we're so grateful for you. We're on our 50th episode today. 2 more marks a full year for us doing this, and we have felt the support. So thank you so much, and we hope you guys have a happy holiday.